Welcome back, everybody. Sorry if you hear my dogs running around in the background. They're going a little bit nuts right now. But anyway, what we're going to do today is show you guys how to install an M16A1 style rear sight. This is a mil-spec one I got off of Gun Broker. So it's still in the factory military packaging. But we have the Brownells A1 upper here. We're going to be building the rifle in the future and doing a review on the build. A lot of cool parts coming in from Brownells, and the upper certainly is one of them. And we're going to show you guys how to install this, because I think a lot of folks kind of don't know how to do it these days, because the A1's a little bit different than the A2 and the A4 and all that stuff. So we'll show you how it's done, and that'll pretty much be it. We're out in my high-tech workbench here, as you guys can see. We have the upper receiver. This is a little vice clamp. I've had this one forever. You can see here, it's from Brownells. I've probably had it for 6 or 7 years. You can see it's beat to crap. But what it's for is to lock your AR-15 upper receiver in there, and it works with any of them. So old or new, it doesn't really matter. But what we're going to do here is clamp it in the vise, and hopefully we'll leave this exposed so you guys can actually see what's going on here, which I suppose is the point of the video, right? So we'll just kind of angle that here so it's best for you guys to see, probably like that, and get to it. I turned it at an angle, so that should help, at least I think so anyway. So the first two parts we're going to install are going to be the rear aperture, which is this piece right here. Hopefully the camera will focus. And then the leaf spring, which is this little piece right here. So it doesn't matter which way the leaf spring goes in. Either way is fine. You want it facing down though, or so that the hump is facing up. I'm just going to slide it in there so it sits in there flush. And then you're just going to set the aperture here right on top of it, so that way the little threaded part right here in the middle, hopefully my camera will focus on that. Yep. So the threaded part right there in the middle is where our screw is going to go through next. Just set it in there, just like that. The next part we're going to put in is going to be the windage screw that we have right here. So you want to install that from the left to the right as you look at it from behind the receiver. There's a neighbor dog barking, so I apologize for that. So it's going to go right through that threaded portion. And then at this point, what we're going to do is just screw it down. And what you want here when you're screwing it in is when you get to your final, I suppose, stopping point, you want the rear sight to be centered, and it will be. And there's a little pinhole in there, and you want that to be facing up. So as you can see now, we're all the way through, and we're actually moving the sight to the center. And it really doesn't matter if it's perfectly centered, because you're going to have to obviously sight the rifle in anyway. So we'll stop right there, and there's again a pinhole, and that's facing up and down. So what you see there are the last four parts. We have the little windage wheel, our detent spring, and then this little roll pin. So the only sort of hard part about it at this point, guys, is going to be that little roll pin. So we're going to try not to lose that, hopefully. So we're going to take the roll pin, and you'll see here on the little drum here that we have some holes. So hopefully it'll focus there real quick, maybe. Anyway, hopefully that'll focus. You guys can see the hole there in the drum. So what we're going to do is start that detent in there. So you can use needle nose pliers, clamps, whatever you want to do to start that out. You definitely want to try to avoid losing that. It doesn't really matter which side you come from, at least as far as I know anyway. So just get it kind of stuck in there. At the end of that last scene, I realized I needed to change the camera angle. So once you have the roll pin in there, we're going to move on to the next step. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our spring, detent spring, and you guys should be able to see on the camera that little hole right there. You're going to put the spring in there, and then what you want to do at this point is the detent with the smaller end. I don't know how well that comes across on camera. Maybe it'll focus there, but the smaller end, there's a large end and a small end. You want the small end facing outside, so facing out, and the large end facing in. And you'll see why that is here in just a second. You're going to see it's obviously under spring tension. So what we want to do now is we're going to line our drum up with the hole and the detent and get them all lined up in there. And then at this point, you're just going to drive your detent home. If you have two people, this is an extremely easy job. Just take a roll pin punch and drive it in there. What I found working solo a lot of the times on guns is that with most of these things, you can actually just clamp them down. You just have to be careful, of course, of marring, which we may get, but such is life. It'll give it a little bit more of a authentic look, I suppose. But we'll just clamp that down, and then we'll finish it off there with the roll pin punch. So it's already started. And I'll grab a punch here and drive this little guy home. With the roll pin through and it's centered up, really at this point you just need to test it. You're just going to want to flip it, and it's going to be tight at first for sure. And when you make sure your apertures flip, again, they're going to be tight. They'll loosen up with time. It should come back and forth like that and snap, and you can see the second one was even easier than the first one. You're also going to want to check here that the sight actually moves left to right. So if you have the M16A1 tool, go ahead and use it. If not, a bullet tip will work. You're going to depress the little button and just rotate it and make sure it engages again on the next one like that, and it does. So there you go. That's all there is to it, folks. Look for the full review on the rifle once we get all the parts in. I'm still waiting on a couple different parts. So that will be coming on the channel. The link for the upper and the lower receiver, if you guys want to get started on your build, will be in the video description. And a gun broker, I believe, is where you can find the sights. It's the place I found the sight kits the most available, at least when I was searching. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, by all means, post down below in the comments section. As always, you can also follow me over on Facebook and ask those questions there. It's generally the best place to ask questions for me. Other than that, we'll see you guys in the next video.